Day. And Leon, please take the stage.
Happy Jubilee Day, Warwick, New York. Yes, Jubilee. So I want to ask you for your assistance today. So I'm not going to be able to do this without you. So at certain points, I'm going to throw up my hand, point in your direction. And when I do, I want you to shout Jubilee. All right? So can we have one dry practice run? You ready? Jubilee! All right, thank you very much. Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, or Jubilee Day, is a holiday where we commemorate the official end to slavery as declared by the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1 of 1863. However, all slaves were not freed. Many slave owners ignored the orders and forced the newly freed slaves back into slavery. Some slave owners went underground and continued the slave trade. Many slave owners shipped their slaves to Texas, who battled the order in court for years. It was not until 2.5 years later that slaves in Texas received news of their emancipation when Major General Gordon Granger showed up to Ashton Villa on January 19th of 1865 in Galveston, Texas, and announced the end of slavery. That day, more than 250,000 Africans enslaved in Texas were emancipated. Jubilee! Yes. So I just want to share 3 quick thoughts with you. Number 1, emancipation. Emancipation, and I call that a celebration of liberation. Number 2, restoration, and I call that a celebration of rehabilitation. And number 3, jubilation, and I call that a celebration of exaltation. So number 1, emancipation. So emancipation is a powerful word that means free from legal, social, or political restrictions, liberated, free from restraint, control, or bondage. Juneteenth is a celebration of liberation. Jubilee! With the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, the liberated became the liberators. So you may have heard it said that Lincoln freed the slaves. However, I submit to you that it was the slaves that freed Lincoln. More than 200,000 newly freed slaves joined the Union Army and went to battle and caused the Union Army to prevail over the Confederates. That was the celebration of liberation. Jubilee! Number 2, restoration. The definition of restoration is to bring back or put back something to a former or original state. That is restoration. Jubilee Day is a celebration of restoration. The year Jubilee or Jubilee Day is a joyous celebration because it commemorates the end of slavery and the restoration of Africans and Americans to their original state. And what state is that, you may ask? It is the state of equality to all men. Jubilee! It is the state of being treated like humans. Jubilee! It is the state of not being treated as property or chattel. Jubilee! The Declaration of Independence says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." That's the celebration of rehabilitation. Now, you've heard this part said time and time again. However, it goes on to say that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. That's the celebration of rehabilitation. Jubilee. Number 3, jubilation. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jubilee Day. Jubilee is a celebration of exaltation. Yes! That means no more slavery. Jubilee! No more torture. Jubilee! No more lynchings. Thank God. No more forced labor. No more being separated from our children. The struggle continues, but Jubilee Day is here. The Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves and helped Lincoln win the war. After that came the Black Code, which made it illegal for people to own property, for black people to own property, to get an education, to vote, or even assemble together peacefully. The Black Code forced black people into slavery if they didn't have a job. But we pressed on. Jubilee! Then came Jim Crow, a set of laws that enforced racial segregation. Former Confederate soldiers worked as police and judges, sentencing black people into indentured servitude. But we pressed on. Jubilee! The struggle continues, but Jubilee Day is here. Now, I just want to leave you with this one last story. It is called the story of Keisha Thomas. So in June of 1996, the KKK held a rally near the University of Michigan. Hundreds of locals arrived to protest their presence, while police with riot gear and tear gas protected the Klansmen. Someone in the crowd noticed a white man with a Confederate flag t-shirt with an SS tattoo in the middle of the anti-protesters group. And someone shouted, "There's a Klansman in the crowd." Shouts of "Kill the Nazi" ran out, and protesters began to strike and kick the man. In the midst of all the blows, Keisha Thomas, an 18-year-old black woman, threw herself on top of the man to shield him. Someone characterized it by saying she protected someone who would not have done the same for her. So the message is, the only way that we will ever defeat racism is together. Black, white, and all other ethnicities, creeds, colors, and nationalities working together. Remember, hate only destroys the vessel that it's in. Jesus said in John chapter 15, verse 7, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Beloved, let us love one another." Jubilee! Thank you.